Hello, fellow YouTubers, and welcome back to Power Up Gamers. I'm Jevin D&D, and we will be doing a review of the Microscope PDF, which is a pretty interesting RPG system. Should be a lot of fun. With me tonight, I have Mary Chris, one of my regular players, and Chris. So Mary, why don't you start us off saying hello, giving plug for your channels, your artwork, the typical stuff.
Hi, I'm Chris, and yeah, as John said, I'm one of his regular players and have been doing D&D for some time now. Anyways, I also, in my other free time, like to do my art, and so you can find those links to my art pages in the comments.
Awesome. And Chris?
What's up, YouTube? My name is Chris Villeneuve. My YouTube channel is Ginger Ninja Shish. Should be right around here somewhere. Pretty new channel, but give it a check out. I have a couple of D&D videos on there. That's pretty much what I'm using it for. And first time player of Microscope. Really excited to try it out.
Yes, excited.
Maybe nervous a bit too.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a little bit nerve-wracking being something that's new. I really enjoyed the Roll Up and Die podcast that featured this, which I was lucky enough to be one of the winners of the PDF. But you can find the PDF on Drive-Thru RPG for $10. I definitely suggest anyone interested in world building pick it up, because it's going to add a lot of flavor and history to your world and make it come alive. Looking at it overall, I wasn't real impressed with the artwork. It's a really simple black and white cover page. The pages are all in white. So not really any artwork. Easy to understand, and as far as format of the PDF, very useful on teaching you how to use it and laying it out in a simple manner. So it's definitely worth the $10 to pick it up.
Yeah, absolutely. I plan to use it for my session zeros like I've been discussing with you, so I'm eager to see how this goes and start picking ideas from it.
Yeah, and that's one thing I was gonna mention as well, is it definitely would make for a very interesting session zero for any campaign, because you can do any kind of setting with it. So we will be doing it a little bit different than the PDF suggests. They have certain sections they suggest people read. We're not really gonna do that. We're using like a notebook or Word documents to keep track instead of index cards, mostly because of space restrictions. But for the general use of the system, we're going to follow the format that they say in the PDF.
Just freestyle a little bit.
Yeah. So the first thing I'm gonna read a small section minutes that they include. They ask, what is microscope? And then there's a small section reply. And that needs read because this is different than most RPG systems. Most RPG systems, you have a GM or a DM. You have players who play their own character, and they might influence a setting, but they don't really help build it. And with Microscope, it's not like that. It's a collaborative thing. There's no DM or GM. They're all players. There's no characters assigned to each player. When we do a scene, we'll pick who we want to play. But you build the story from the outside in, and so it's not like you start in an area and then you expand outwards. It's very much the big picture from the start. For Microscope, you do need 2 to 5 players, but they say 3 to 4 is best. And I've even used it by myself as kind of a role building exercise. So the rules are pretty simple. And they go step by step. So step by 1 is called the big picture. Step 2's a bookend history. 3's a palette where you add or ban ingredients, and then they have it's called first pass. The big picture is brainstorming a simple overview of the history we want to play. And this is kind of where we get it together and decide the single sentence of a setting. So what I like, and we kind of discussed before we started the broadcast, is I like the idea of humans in a colony ship exploring space, coming across a magical planet. The ship malfunctions, and they are basically left with no working technology to explore this new planet. So if that sounds good to Chris and Mary, that's what we'll write down as the big picture.
Yeah, it sounds good. And essentially, we're just trying to summarize that into one sentence, right?
Yeah.
I think I'm good with it. Mary, I'm pretty sure Mary said you're good with it too.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What kind of sentence can we come up with?
So for
humans find magic planet.
Humans find magic planet that technology doesn't work on.
Sounds like a sentence to me.
Humans find magic planet, technology no worky.
So we will write that down as the big picture.
And I will write that down too so I can remember.
I'm staying on top of it, guys. I'm writing notes. I'm gonna need all the notes.
Okay, step 2 is called bookend history. And history is divided into what is called periods, and a period can be a large chunk of time. Usually decades or centuries. but it could also be as little as 1 or 2 years. So, bookend history, we want to write down. And for this, they suggest 2 periods. It's one on how the history begins and one on how it ends.
So the beginning one, it makes sense to be
Crash day.
the day that they crash on this planet, if I make sense, right?
Yeah, and that's what I would suggest is the beginning is the ship crashing on the planet.
And is this where we pick light and dark?
Um,
too?
yes, we will pick if each of
Ew.
these periods are light or dark. So,
What if it
period
was an
1 is ship crashing on planet.
P1? Crash day.
I had this idea that just kind of came to my head. It's like, what if the crashing was not meant to be, but there was like a corrupted guy on there who's like, I'm going to try to take over, and it's like a terrorist attack of sorts, and then it's like way off course, and then
Now,
boom,
see,
there's a planet there. Anyway, sorry.
That's where we have to hold up those kinds of ideas because that will come later on.
Okay.
Um,
I will try to
So-
contain myself.
So, the ship crashing on the planet, to me, that is basically a dark period.
Yeah, definitely dark.
I was looking dark, obviously.
Okay. And what they suggest is a circle with filled in for dark. But you can write dark or light. It doesn't really matter.
Yep.
So, period 2 would be basically the end of the time period that we'll be exploring.
So how far do we want to go? I feel like we could probably stretch it for a while. I have like a million ideas already, and I'm just trying to hold back as much as I can.
I know
only have one.
I basically think that the ending should be basically humans settling into the planet and accepting that that's the new home.
Quality. I have like actually like for period 2, it's like I know we're talking about the end stuff. I'm like the in between part integration, how we mingle together, and then we have the we achieved equality. But
So for me, that could take decades or centuries for them to come to grips with that.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on how open-minded and awesome these people are.
And I like to think, and you guys can just tell me how you feel about it, but the way they integrate is to start basically from scratch, not only using this magic, but starting to put their own technology into this world. So I don't know how far do we want them to get to like an industrial era, or do they just like give up on their technologies altogether?
That's something to be seen.
Yeah, exactly. But for period 2, do we want to say just humans integrate then?
Yeah,
that's what I just said integration. Like that's the process essentially that's happening.
Yeah, I would say humans finally accept that they have to integrate.
Why don't we keep it very vague and say humans find their place in the world?
Okay. Yeah, that sounds.
What
That
their place
sounds
is,
really
we
good.
don't know.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Placement day.
gives us tons of possibilities for everyone to throw a wrench in all our ideas.
I'm
This is gonna be
the
entertaining.
place in the world. And I kind of like the idea of this being a light event.
Hmm. It makes most sense to start the story off dark and happily ever after at the end. We're not George R. R. Martin
Exactly.
here.
But it could be a dark thing too.
Yeah,
We
it
could,
definitely
like,
could
Slavery
be.
to the humans!
cause like then they realize they can't go home. But I like the idea of by the time they really realize that, they've kind of already started the process of integrating. And so to them, I think it would be more of a happy time.
Hmm.
I'm, I,
I'm totally good with that. Now, are we locked in stone? Like, say, when we're doing events and stuff in period 2, there can still be dark things, right?
oh yeah, there's still dark things. It's just the outcome of it is positive.
All right. So yeah,
If it's
I like the
kind of
idea of
how
the
it
story at least
went.
having a happy ending.
Okay, so that will be light. Okay, now we have no idea what's gonna happen in between these two periods. That's kind of what we do in the rest of the game. Okay, so step 3, and someone has some background noise.
Yeah, I'm not sure who that is. Is it? I don't have anything in the background, so I don't think it's me.
It's
Yeah, I got a person on the other side of the wall. How about
yeah.
you?
Yeah. So just remember to keep yourself muted whenever you're not talking, please, Mary. So step 3 is called palette, and it's add or ban ingredients.
The exciting part.
So yeah, this is a really fun part. On whatever document we're using to keep track of things, we'll make 2 columns. One will be a yes column, one will be a no column.
This is essentially our rules.
Pretty much.
I'm trying to figure out how to organize this on my WordPad. I think I'm just going to have the first category be yes. Yeah, I like that.
Okay. So the way this works is we can go in any order. So for me, I like the order I'll go, then Chris will go, then Mary it goes, and we just take turns adding in one item to either the yes or the no column.
Mm-hmm.
And then we keep repeating it. If someone chooses not to add anything, that pass ends. And so, like if I say I got nothing else, Chris would have one more chance, and then Mary would have one more chance to add something. And we just keep doing this. We can discuss and negotiate things to kind of pick how they'll work. And this is basically the collaborative part of the system. So my first yes is that there is no working technology on this planet.
So no technology. That would be under no then, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it would go under no. So no working technology.
All right. And then that puts it on to me. So I want to say yes to different races.
Okay.
Obviously not going to be just humans.
So we will say different races, and I think we should include flora and fauna there. So there's not like only one type of tree. There's not only one type of animal on the planet.
Yep.
And there is
No insects.
life.
None. We're gonna go to animal route. No insects. No. I was thinking definitely the possibility for necromancy art, including undead.
Okay.
See.
Because right now we don't have magic at all.
Should that be a yes to
So
magic in general?
I would
Yes.
say the next part would be yes to magic in general.
Makes sense to me.
Okay, I am going to add another no, and that is no deities.
No deities. That's interesting.
Magic that would be considered divine comes from the belief in that thing, not a physical or being or entity. It's much more the mind over matter kind of deal.
Cool. Putting it back to me, I'm not really sure how to fully word this, but what I'm thinking is yes to, how do I want to word this? Either like a government or factions. Like these people aren't primitive; they're fully established, very much like a fantasy world.
Okay. So
Forms of
So
government.
yes to civilization.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do we want on a single form of government, or do
No, multi-civilization.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So we'll say multi forms of government.
Governing civilizations is what I'm gonna put.
Okay. So Mary, you're up.
Pressure.
Yeah, right. I'm just like, shoot. Multi-seasons.
Nice.
And whatever, multi-seasons will be just fine. Uh-oh.
I think he dropped.
No! Okay, Mary, this gives you buffer time. Quick, think.
Start thinking of ideas.
Yeah. I felt so, that was like literally a moment of just like awesome, because it was just like, I have no idea what else I can contribute, and it's like, well, we got all these different people and government. What's something else that would be? Oh yeah, seasons. That would be, yeah. It could always be winter.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Multi-seasons. But it's all water. Oh.
Now we wait.
So I wonder what that does to the.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Like, are we? It says I'm still alive. I wonder if we actually
I
are.
know. I believe we are. Like, I'm like I have it up right now, just kind of like, what's going on over here?
Hi, everybody.
Yeah. No, it's just
Just.
you. I just see your face. It doesn't show me anymore.
Uh-oh. That's awkward. No one wants to see just my face.
But, oh wait. So the light on your head, I thought you had a band-aid there for a moment. I was like,
Oh.
what happened? It's like, nope. You shifted like right in time. This is like, never mind.
Just an awkwardly bright
Yes,
head.
you're alive. We are, and he's back.
Yeah, sorry about that. I lost the internet for a moment.
No worries. It gave us some buffer time to start thinking of more ideas.
Oh yeah, we were supposed to think of things, weren't we?
So that puts it back on you, Jim.
Yes. I actually missed what Mary said.
Seasons. Multiple seasons.
All seasons.
Okay.
Winter, fall, spring, summer, and the mythical blue. I don't know. Just come up with like one random.
Okay. So multiple seasons. Okay. Okay. I I like the idea that travel is difficult, so there's not like roads or really paths. It's more of a wilderness kind of thing
Okay.
for the majority of the planet. So I'm gonna set a limited forms of transportation. So you might have a boat, you might be able to get horses and maybe a wagon, but there's no convenient transportation.
All right. On to me. I am going to say heavy racism, unfortunately. I'm going to darken it up a bit. They aren't going to necessarily get along with each other.
Okay.
I'm going to be that guy that makes everything negative.
Heavy racism.
This is something I was actually thinking about earlier. I'm gonna write stuff down. I'm like, I'm 2 notes behind. Limited transportation.
Okay, before you go, or maybe we actually have a question, and given they want us to give a quick recap for people joining the chat. We're doing a review of the Microscope RPG, and it's very much a collaborative system for building. Right now, we have basically came up with the history we want to play in, and a period in which humans find this magical planet, and the humans were on a colony ship in space. Our beginning period is the ship crashing on the planet, and then our end period is humans find their place in the world.
What about humans? They get along. Wonderfully, bloody.
So the step we're going through now is adding and banning ingredients, kind of what we want in the setting. So that's kind of what we're doing. We're saying yes to some things, no to others.
Yeah, essentially making our rules.
Yeah. So maybe it was on you to add something.
I remembered it now. So I was thinking about this earlier. We were like talking about human integrating. We are humans coming to a foreign planet, so maybe they don't understand each other at first. There's a language barrier.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. So language barrier, very interesting. And yes,
TPK.
to Victor who's in our chat, this is definitely a very good system to use for a session zero, which we talk about in the beginning of the video if you want to go back and watch that at some point. So language barrier is a yes. Yes. Okay. I like the idea that there is no alien life. Whatever life there is comes from this planet except for the humans who crashed here. So I'm gonna say no alien life form.
And I'm thinking about passing, but give me a couple seconds. We got a pretty good thing here. We don't want to bog it down too much, right?
Yeah. There is definitely one more thing I would like to add if you or maybe don't come up with it first.
Okay. Trying to think. I know that I should say something else, but I'm liking what we got, and I don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna pass it.
Okay. So it goes to Mary. Um, that that's definitely interesting. Victor said a sickness or disease that is hurtful to humans or a certain race.
I guess along that line, it may not be specific, but
There are illnesses that we are going to discover because certainly these people have something that us humans will
Yeah.
die from, and us humans have something that they're gonna die from.
Okay. So maybe
plagues.
so maybe would say yes to strange illnesses.
Crossings of illnesses, I guess.
Yeah, crossing germs, illness.
Okay. I am going a not as my turn, but if it's okay with both of you, I like Victor's idea that there's something, a sickness or disease that's specifically harmful to the humans.
Okay.
So if you're both fine with that, I think it should be added to our yes column.
We can even just consider that like Mary's basically contribution. Like essentially that's what she said. He just
Well,
homed it in a bit.
yeah.
I like that idea, definitely. I like that idea for sure.
It's actually, I remember goodness, like a week or two ago I'm trying to like think back to American history and such, where it's like we know when to America is like we brought the smallpox and flu and all the
Exactly.
great illnesses that the Indians are like WTF and like it killed them. But then I was like, wait a minute, shouldn't they have something that affected us? I don't recall us catching something for them. But I'm like going, I must not have been paying attention. Like surely there was an illness they had that we caught and it was detrimental to us. But anyways.
So normally that's where it would end. With Chris's and Mary's permission, though, I would like to add one more.
Add it.
Go for it.
And that, I'm going to put it in no.
Uh-oh.
Oh, and that is that life forms are not normal. Oh. Such as we think of a dog and everyone knows what a dog is.
Okay.
So like all the life form is exotic. It's kind of how I picture it. Strange plants, strange animals.
No common life.
I know what the horses are. I call dibs on what the horses are. Don't you guys dare touch those.
Yeah. So no common life forms. So even if we say something's an elf, we'll have to describe what that is.
It's gonna make our creative juices be tested to the max.
I could do that for ants. I'm not so much sure.
To answer Victor's question, and he asked what a tech level is there. There is no working technology, so it's basically medieval fantasy.
Yeah, essentially we showed up on the planet as humans with space travel and the ability to do so, but for whatever reason our technology does not work on this planet whatsoever.
It's like the magics about it are oppressing it. Or repressing, repressing.
Okay, so the next step is called first pass. First pass is basically where the collaborative part of brainstorming on the setting is done. So now group decisions are basically over. Each player rest of the game will make a decision. It has basically all the power.
Uh-oh.
Did you drop again?
He's just gearing up for a really good sneeze.
Yeah. We are temporarily experiencing technical difficulties.
Please come back again.
No, stay, but be patient.
This is the horse.
Oh god, I don't like that.
Yeah. Are you kidding? It's a lion horse. It's awesome. It's so fierce.
I'm just kidding. That is pretty badass.
I'm like, oh, I've been waiting for this day.
Oh my god, I just thought of something else.
Yeah.
I've seen a picture on Pinterest a couple days ago, and I'm just like, I don't know how and I don't know when, but I am going to incorporate this into one of my D&D games. I'm dropping it. I'm dropping it here. You heard it first, ladies and gentlemen. My greatest idea.
Excellent.
I don't see the chat. Is there any way that we can pull up the chat to see who's talking and stuff, or is that just like an exclusive broadcast here?
If you go to YouTube and watch the YouTube thing, you can see it. I've been just kind of sitting like, can't see. Or maybe humans was taken from Earth and kind of just dumped in a pile. A different race, Hans, what is a level? Well, Victor, I know that this idea that they have presented is an idea that I've been dabbling with, and the thoughts that come to me is that the things that we utilize to make our contraptions work, just the initial fizzles, just because of the different atmosphere and just the energies that are at the place, and so it's just, it just didn't mesh well for whatever reason. Like it's a very weak argument, but it
there was great potential. Humans brought in all the ideas of their technologies, and they're able to be like, well, okay, you mage users, well, why don't you have guns? Why don't you have like working toilets and electricity in your house and light bulbs? Like, why are you still using candles? You can create light, but you can't seem to harness it for a permanent. Anyways, so humans and mages end up working together to further on new technologies that are very much in the same light of what humans had. I'm not saying this, Jaron. I was talking to him an example of like my world and ideas.
Yeah. So, did you guys catch the period I added?
I did not. It looked like you were about to sneeze and then you dropped out.
That's what I thought. I said my period is going to be right after the ship crash, and I'm just calling it period A, and it's first contact with intelligent life.
Alright, and just to back this up a notch, now we flip turns being what's called the focus, I remember correctly, right?
The focus kind of goes, yeah, right in this point. The focus I'm picking, since I'm going first, is that it's dealing with how humans react to this situation.
And then from here we take turns creating more periods, an event, which is zoomed in a bit, or the most zoomed in a scene.
Exactly.
So your first period is first contact.
With some kind of intelligent life. I picture this to be a dark period. Because they just had the ship crash, they're finding out the technology doesn't work. and then they have these strange life forms that they're having to interact with.
All right, and just to get me on track, sorry, remind me, say again the focus so I can write this down. How they interact?
Yeah, it's how the humans respond. It's kind of the focus I'm picking in how it affects them.
All right. So should I just throw us right under the bus and go right to a scene and see how good we can improv?
You could do so now, or you could add another period, which at this point the period is 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 we have 3 actual periods.
All right. Actually, I'm not gonna.
Or you could do a general event within a period.
All right. And first contact almost kind of sounds like an event to me.
Yeah,
And-
it's kind of a cross between a period and an event.
Okay, so I won't put us on the role-playing spotlight just yet because we are kind of backed up. So I'm going to go to, I believe, another period, and it's going to be a little bit farther along. And taking Victor's idea of the illness, I'm going to call this period the plague, I guess.
Okay.
Does that sound like something that makes sense?
Yeah, the plague.
The plague period?
A period.
And
Okay.
obviously that is unfortunately going to be dark, so hopefully Mary can spring a little light into this story with a event, period, or scene.
So we have 4 periods now. So an event would be something that happens within that. So say we take the period ship crashing on the planet. An event could be the ship malfunctioning and the crew trying to respond to it. First
Okay.
contact with intelligent life could be the humans are attacked.
And you're on mute, Mary, if you are trying to talk.
I'm grasping at air, going, come on, head, come on. What's something you can do? You can do this. You can do this. You can do this. You can do this. Yeah, I can do the crash thing. I can do the crash thing. Well, I don't really know what like, how am I going to say the crash thing? Or how am I going to navigate through that? I don't know, but maybe it'll just kind of happen. I don't know. Anyways, my head's like going miles a minute, but then it's like the plague thing where it's like, okay, if he focuses on the plague and like the plague that's kind of killing, that's dark. But what if the light thing is I focus on other people like coming up with a cure, because like what if it's a human illness and that could be the very thing that
Okay.
we can like, get along because the humans know how to cure their thing and they're not so bad after all. They don't really want to stand. Okay, I need to take a break.
There's something Victor said with the cure that I like. After I tell you the joke, he said, "Don't give Mary any more coffee."
I'm not on coffee. I'm just nervous.
That's not coffee. That's typical Mary.
Not even typical. No.
But
Okay, a little bit.
It's also nerves. So the suggestion he said is that there is a cure for the plague, but the cure changes humans into a different species.
I can see that if it's a device. I don't know how Chris is wanting to like what direction he's taking the play.
And this is totally
This
not
could
up
be
to
very
me at
much-
this point. This is literally your idea,
Yeah,
so
it's literally on you.
I know.
If you
So,
like that,
so if that's kind of what I'm getting at. It's like I don't know what way he's going to take it, but that could be an option. It depends on kind of which it is. Like, are the people of the planet dying of a human illness, and therefore the humans are able to like Like, oh, we can heal that or something. Or is it first the humans are dying because of this illness that the people of the planet have, and therefore
I
the cure, if they take it from the
yeah,
people, would turn them
I
into
would say
something
this
else.
plague would be something on the planet because it affects humans.
And the key here is to actually what you're wanting to do, figure out more about it. You actually have to restrain and let that happen. So basically, what you're sounding like you're coming up with is an event, and the event is
Yeah,
literally can be as vague as the cure. And we're gonna
yeah,
figure out what the cure is through more events and scenes.
exactly.
Okay, I think I can handle that. I think I can handle that.
So we will go with period B,
I think that would
which
be more
is
an event,
the
though. No?
plague, A
Yes. Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
Event 1 is cure for plague.
And that sounds like a light to me, Mary. What do you think? I'm mute
Indeed,
again.
indeed, indeed,
Yeah.
indeed, indeed.
Okay.
Good
Now,
job.
do we want to include the suggestion that it changes humans into a different species here, or do we actually want to play out the scene and find out what happens?
I say to keep to the kind of idea of the game, keeping ideas held back. Someone can put that in
Exactly.
their back pocket because I do like that idea, but I think if we add that, we're basically going too far ahead of ourselves.
Exactly. I'm thinking that would be something discovered in the scene.
Hmm.
Okay. So it goes back to me. I will do an event as well for period A, which is first contact with intelligent life. And the event is humans are attacked.
All right. So first contact event. What do we want to call that? The attack.
Yeah, I just wrote event 1, humans are attacked.
All
And
right.
then I have the period that it goes under because I'm doing it in a list format.
All right. And then at that point, does your focus end, or how long do we stay on your focus of how humans respond?
Actually, the focus would have shifted there because it's beginning of a new round.
Okay. So then that puts the focus onus on me then. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
so you would pick a focus, and then that would be the focus, and the event would be humans are attacked.
Okay. That's I don't know why I even mentioned anything because that's a little more responsibility than I was ready for at this moment. But let's think really quick. New focus. How humans respond. Focus, focus, focus.
Now, one thing we could do, we could leave the focus the same.
Yeah, I think we have a little bit more. We haven't even went into. I'm good with leaving it the same. We have more to figure out about that. So
Exactly. And by leaving it the same, I think that's gonna give some stability, because the whole time is basically how are the humans are responding to these things.
and I am going to do it. I'm going to make the plunge and make us all role play. We are going to do a scene on, I believe the most sensible thing for now is the ship crashing. So
Okay.
my question for this scene is going to be, how did the ship crash?
Okay.
So scene 1.
Is that how did it crash, or why did it crash?
Uh,
Because how's more of a mechanical thing.
yeah. Why would be what happened when it crashed? Is that more vague?
What? Yeah. What happened when it crashed would be pretty vague. And that could include both the mechanical and
Yeah.
reasons.
So I'm not necessarily looking at why the ship crashed, but the events that happened while the ship was crashing. I don't really know how to word that better, but basically just how the crew dealt with it.
And
And now I have to establish, how many characters can I establish? Just one? Did we lose him again?
Probably.
Yes, it seems like it. Well, we won't go too much further, but I guess we can't because I don't know how many characters. But now, basically, Mary, I am going to at least pick one NPC that somebody has to play. So, example, I'm probably going to pick a commander of the ship, and I give him a name. And then at that point, you can choose to play that person or come up with your own. And there's no stats or anything to this character. It's literally just the mannerisms and stuff that you come up with, and you just play off of what everybody else is saying with the end goal of answering the question, what happened when the ship crashed. Does that make sense, basically?
Mhm.
Going to do a little improv play here, essentially. But obviously we got to wait for Jaren to come back. That dang internet being all pesky.
Right.
And yes, Victor, I did add some racism. I'm a dick like that. And yeah, the world is very basically picture like any standard magical world, like a Fey runner, anything, but essentially we're these space traveling humans that probably in reality are way more advanced than them. But we will figure that out, I guess, as time goes on. Because I think
okay, I missed whether you wanted this scene to be light or dark.
the scene is going to be dark, and then I had a question of how many NPCs can I establish. I know I get at least one, but can I say there has to be multiple or?
But can pick one, but you can pick a group. So like you could say the group is all dead except for what pick. So like there could only be 3 survivors.
And I don't even think I want to go as far as the ship actually necessarily already crashed, just like our first scene of seeing this planet and whatnot. So I can't pick one person. Like I can't say I want there to be Commander Farron.
You can pick one person.
Okay, so I want there to be the captain or commander of the ship, whatever fits more, and his name is Commander Farron.
Okay, and
Farren.
and do you want to play him?
I do not necessarily want to play him, but if nobody else steps up to the task, then it pretty much puts it on me.
Okay, Commander Fiven.
And now, Mary, you have to pick who you are playing. It could be Commander Farron, or it could be anybody else you think of.
Yeah.
That would be on the ship.
Or an NPC, or a character that's involved in this scene, and then we can pick who plays what.
Yeah, I'm not muted. Yay. I thought that was coming to mind just trying to think of like roles on this ship or whatnot. It's like if I don't really know exactly the essence of this mission voyage, but I was thinking like I could do the religious aspect. Just think about how awful it'll be when they come to a world that has no gods. That was a thought that I was having.
So yeah, you can that would be so who you name it and basically
like
their job.
Okay. So we're gonna have Sarah. Sarah Wimble, and she is like the what's that fancy word?
You said Wimble for the last name?
Yeah, Sarah Wimble. Wimble, Wimble, Wimble.
Okay.
basically a priestess. Like I'm trying. There's a word
Clergy,
at hospitals. This is what they are called. The spiritual people
chaplain.
that guide. Chaplain. There we go. She's basically the chaplain of the ship.
Okay.
Now, not to steal your thunder and correct me, if there is no deities in our world, would it make sense to have this already, or I'm not sure
That
here.
is. That was the thought that happened in the sense of like.
Yeah.
When she finds out, it's like, what? There's no deity here. What?
So yeah, that still works then. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, also you can think of like a chaplain could be someone like Gandhi
Okay,
or
Yeah,
Buddha.
that too.
I got you. So who are you
So
playing
it
then?
could be a spiritual leader. The character I want to throw in, I think, is more of like a soldier, a security guard type. Like, and I'm gonna uh, say he would just be a lieutenant,
Lieutenant.
and we'll say his name is Irvin.
Irwin?
Irvin, Oren.
Sorry, I missed it. Say it again.
Oren.
Or
Oren, gotcha. Oren, Lieutenant Oren. All right, so now we're going to plunge into this scene, essentially, and I describe
Yeah.
what we see.
Before we do that, let's pick who plays what.
Okay. I see. Well, I'm assuming. I guess I will play Commander Farron then, because I'm assuming that you guys made your characters to play your characters.
Yeah, I could be fine with the commander or the lieutenant.
I'm good with either or. It'd be funny
Okay.
to. It'd be funny to actually flop roles, because I'm sure as we were saying characters, we were kind of picturing how they would be. I think it would be funny to just like shift one person over each character.
Okay. So let's start with Mary. Mary, which one of the three characters do you wanna play?
I think I'll go with Chris's idea, and I will step out of the box, and I will put on the Lieutenant Oran's shoes.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay.
You got it. So that leaves you with. Are you taking the idea then? You're going to be Commander Farron
Yeah,
or Sarah?
I'm gonna take the commander.
Oh God, that leaves me with being Sarah.
I'll tell you who I was envisioning, Sarah Wimble, after this is all said and done.
Perfect. I'm sure I'm going to be very far from it. And then now I describe the scenery, right? And
Yes. Now you would describe the initial scenery
I
that's
keep
going on.
in back of the mind. We are trying to answer what happened when the ship crashed.
Yeah.
Anybody at any point can answer this. This is where you start dropping like bombs on each other, and just I could be thinking I know how it ends, and then Mary could just be like, "Well, this happened."
Yeah.
It was
So
Colonel Mustard in the library with the wrench.
Basically, as we enter this scene, we are voyaging on a very massive kind of transporting ship, a colony ship that is designed for literally colonizing worlds, obviously. Massive, thousands of people, even probably hundreds of thousands of people on it. And we've been at space for very many years, and we're just looking for habitable planets. We come upon this planet, we just warp out of warp drive, and we see this beautiful blue planet just kind of off in the distance. And we'll be on the captain's deck as we see this planet for the very first time.
Okay. Right. Awesome. So, Commander Farron and would look at Lieutenant Irvin. Report, Lieutenant. What's going on? Where are we?
We are obviously in space, and look, there's a planet. Sorry, it's really bad role playing on my part. Um, um,
I can see there's a planet. Come on, look at your panel. Oh, it should at least give coordinates.
oh, I'm going to sound so intelligent. Yes, of course, sir. We are in. I honestly cannot put into words coordinates and whatnot because I don't speak those things. But he would give a set of coordinates and like probably say in relation to like certain constellations, Orion's over yonder, and so we are now here and such of.
Ah, so the rim. I expected as much. Where is that chaplain? She should be dealing with the crew.
And just as that's kind of
Oh,
going on, go ahead.
She's giving good morale. She's around, giving good
Sarah
morale.
Wimble comes in, this dark-haired female, kind of a little bit aging. She's maybe on her 40s, going into her 50s. You see like kind of gray streaks in her hair. And she comes to the front deck because it is kind of her job, not only as chaplain, but as like a stewardess to the basically the peasants of the ship, the non-workers, to keep them informed. She would come in, and Commander Farron, she would stand at attention and kind of what the ship has appeared to stop warp drive. Is there any reportings?
He looks at Seb, nods, and you can see he's a younger gentleman, maybe early 30s, but very much trained in a position of authority. It seems we have found a planet that might be habitable.
Could it be true? This is what the 13th planet we've come to, none of which have been habitable before. Our supplies, they are getting low. Has someone did a scan to see if there's life forms or anything?
And like looking at the little awesome tablet that he has and such, and it's just so it's like scans does not necessarily pick up any life form, but they're the atmosphere and such, and all indicate that it'd be hospitable for us. So we'll want to exert caution, but this is hopeful to say the least.
So the commander would walk over at the panel and look at it as well. Goes, it does appear there are some kind of strange readings down there, but whether it's life forms or not, I can't say.
And just as that happens, the kind of panel, the lighting on the deck does like a momentary like lapse of going out, almost like a power outage. The ship almost kind of shakes for a second. Sarah Wimble, she kind of grabs onto the bridge. Captain, what was that? Is everything okay?
I don't know. Oh, that's strange. You better go check on the rest of the crew. They should be coming out of the cryogenic sleep.
Yes, with that reset in power, it might throw our sensors off. I'll make sure everyone is alive and well and starting to wake up. Or should I wake them, Captain?
He thinks for a moment, says, yes, as at least the survey teams should be woke up.
Very well. And then she kind of dismounts from the bridge.
Okay. Right. As she's leaving the bridge, there's another big shutter, lights flickering on and off. Only this time, a siren starts going.
And then kind of like a surveying person, not necessarily Lieutenant Oren, but maybe someone that's just kind of on the scanners. Captain, we're getting a very weird anomaly. Something seems to be messing with our systems. Lieutenant Oren, do you notice anything?
Num, 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 num. Up will come reading of the engine room and such, in which um, it's showing like basically things are kind of powering down, and he's just kind of looking baffled, and I just like this is odd. The engines are the steamers, but bleh, they're turning off, and this should. Yeah, we need to get people down there just to, or go down and find out why this is happening and such. And
Engineering bay kind of comes on the comms as you're like looking at everything. Lieutenant, we have a major problem. The engineering bay is going down. We have no control. We're losing thrusters.
Sorry.
The commander would speak. Well, do what you can to keep the thrusters online. We need to get closer to that planet.
And at that moment, someone like who is probably working at like the navigation board or something, whatnot, who has the map and kind of the radar that's going on, would kind of pipe up at that and just be like, Commander, we're actually locked in the gravitational pull of this planet, and if so, we're heading in the right direction still. So I don't think that'll be a problem. We may want to make we may want to make sure the engines are working so we can properly land.
Engineering bay comes on the comm again in a panic. The bay is on fire. The engine's on fire. We need an emergency crew. Response. Stat.
Sure, let's just use the limited resources of water that we have to just put it out. Or just kind of says somewhat under his breath, but not me being anyway serious.
The commander would call over the for Sarah and tell her that we need a repair crew brought out of this lumber as well. Explain that the engines are kaput, there's a fire going on, and we're locked in the gravitational pull of the planet, and that everyone should be bracing for impact.
And just as that happens, we kind of pass into their atmosphere. Like you said, the navigational person said, we're being pulled in. And you almost see like this, not necessarily shield, but you see the entrance of us going into their atmosphere. And as soon as the ship goes in, it goes completely dark, almost like an EMP has went off. And the ship is just kind of floating in space, no electronics whatsoever. And then suddenly you just feel gravity start to kick in. Everyone braces themselves in their seats, and we start getting pulled down. Navigational comms is like yells out to you, Commander Farron. Commander, I have no control of the ship. What do I do?
Hold it as steady as you can.
Or I was going to say, get your fire suits on. Yeah, because they don't have this as preparation.
About this time, the commander spins round, knocking his coffee, which is extremely hot, all over Lieutenant Irwin's panel. And he just grabs onto like the closest station and just hangs on. Says, we're going down.
You don't say. Yes, indeed. Well, it was nice knowing you all. And it's getting really hot in here. Like, he's loosening up the button down that he has just because, yeah, I'm sure as we're picking up speed, we're feeling the force of gravity, we're probably starting to see flames emit around the craft, and so...
Absolutely. And as we break through to, like, basically the cloud level, we start to see this land that we're coming upon. There's just an immense amount of forestry and flora, but nothing like we've ever seen before. There's like the equivalent of almost like a pine tree, this long, tall trees, but the leaves are immensely big and are kind of glowing this neon blue. The navigational person is just trying to steer it as best as she can, but she doesn't. She's literally just her strength versus gravity, and she manages to steer it, and we start crashing into these trees, and then suddenly come into a large body of water, maybe a lake, and the ship just crashes right into this water.
Okay. And right before the ship crashes into this water, which is rather strange, even though it's clear like water, looking at it, it seems that the drops and sprays of water are thicker than it should be. But right before this happens, we notice as a pulse, almost a purplish pulse emitting from the sky itself, and our view screen goes dead.
All right, and I guess that's what happened when the ship crashed, so we could probably end it there, eh?
Sounds good to me.
So we learned that an EMP-like kind of occurrence happened. We crashed into water. And what did you say? Purple aura in the sky?
Yeah, some kind of purplish aura.
And we met our first 3 NPCs, Commander Farron, Sarah Wimble, and Lieutenant Oren. So now we bounce over to Mary, and you will pick a period, scene, or event.
And I will keep the focus the same just throughout the entire game.
Awesome. I'm going to say escaping the now sinking aircraft. Okay. Yeah, so we've crashed into this. Do we keep the same characters, right?
You don't have to.
You don't have to. I kind of like the idea of keeping the same 3.
Mm-hmm.
Me
too.
When it saves us time,
I need stability. Okay. Yeah, and speaking of time, I'd like to try, and we might have to make this a 2-parter because I don't see how we're going to get through all this in another 20 to 40 minutes.
Well, see, that's the nice thing is we've covered a scene, we've covered events and periods.
Mm-hmm.
So we've have basically done the entire review already.
You just keep doing this until you're basically done, right?
Yeah,
Until you're finished playing.
Yeah, it's just kind of the same repeat. But you can add another period, another event, or do another scene.
Okay, yeah, so you're basically building upon it, but everyone gets a chance to kind of control something to add
Exactly.
something.
Yeah, we could definitely end it now if you're pushed for time.
I kind of like the idea of maybe 1 or 2 more scenes.
Yeah, why don't we do a scene in each period? So not necessarily worry about the crash, but now jump to one of the other periods that we created. And
so for the events, and we have first contact with intelligent life, the plague period, and then under them we have humans are attacked and the cure for the plague.
yeah, so even though we're kind of going off textbook and breaking the rules here, you
little bit. Yeah.
You should you pick a scene in any of those events that interest you, Mary, and we'll just play like each person plays one more scene.
Oh, I guess first contact would be next in sequence to
Okay.
do.
So the event for that in sequence would be humans are attacked.
And this actually could be your scene of us escaping the water too, like you said. It could
Exactly.
Yeah. I was definitely with thought process. I was like, okay, we're gonna escape from this thing. Then we get up on shore, and wow, look, there's people already waiting for us.
Now
Okay,
here's the question, and I like the idea of the same characters. Do we want to play the same characters?
I'm
I think
playing the
we
same
should
Not
character
actually.
just because that's about the stables it's gonna get for me.
Well, the thing I kind of like is we can change up who we play. So, like we could have the same three NPCs, but like someone else could play Sarah, could play the commander, and you can trade them off like that. Or we can say we like playing as that character and keep it the same.
I would be happy to continue as Lieutenant Orton.
Okay, I'm good with either way.
Yeah, I haven't fully decided yet, but next you have to ask a question and what you want to find out about the scene, and then that's going to determine if I'm going to play somebody else or not.
Lives here.
Yeah, so I don't think I'll play the same person. Then maybe Sarah Wimble is actually out of this one, or maybe somebody else plays her, or maybe I play two people, but I have an idea for something else.
Okay. Well, first let's determine the characters because they don't have to be the same.
hmm
I do think the commander and the lieutenant would go.
hmm I'm okay with playing two too. I can play Sarah Wimble too. I
Okay.
want to add. I'm not sure how to do this, but one of the not aliens, but another race, and
Yeah.
this is going to be his name. Let me get. Is going to be something weird. Gubra. Sure, Grubra. And that is going to be an intelligent life form.
And how's that spelled?
Grubra. Grubra.
I was so close. I put an H on the end.
Okay. So let's stick with 3, and we will take Chaplain Seba out of it. She's probably hanging back with
She died.
the rest of the group,
hmm
while we're kind of on the outskirts.
All right. So, and the question we're asking is, who do they meet?
what life forms live here? Yeah, basically.
I would limit that to what's attacking us.
Okay.
Alright.
What life form is it? And because if you expand as to what lives here, that could be 2 or 3 sessions in itself.
Absolutely. All right. So then you now describe the setting or the scene that we come upon, and we'll start playing.
We crashed into the lake. Did someone say something about being purple, or is that just my imagination?
Purple.
Because
No. There was a flash of purple in the sky.
flash of purple.
The water,
Okay.
though, was described as being water, but it seemed to be thick.
Nice thick water. I
Alright.
missed that.
Cool.
Uh,
Cool.
Uh,
Cool. Okay. So yeah, the ship has crashed into this watery lake that is more buoyant than, I guess, or I'm not exactly sure what the correct word is, but so the ship's going down. People are rushing out from the lower decks up. It would appear that through the windows that you can see out that it's like a sunset-ish kind of sky where like there are some oranges and some violets kind of just mingling through the atmosphere and like kind of reflects that color and see that the shore, like for a brief moment as everyone's gathering together to try and hopefully get out of this thing before it sinks down. Who knows how deep the lake is? You can see those same kind of pine-like trees, and there's also like these long, spindly ones that have just these like almost cotton fluff balls on top that are just in these bright orange and yellows and pinks and anyways, so everyone's basically gathering, trying to get to the exits of, or is that the same?
Okay. Of course, we would have the commander and Lieutenant Irwin there, probably with
Yes.
some kind of portable scanners, probably some kind of blaster weapons or guns.
Oh yeah, and I could totally see Lieutenant Oren, would. Yes. Oh no, the exits there are in the water. Well, don't worry, we'll use this nifty little contraption of ours and blast a hole to escape, hopefully. And lo and behold, it doesn't work. Curses!
What? Commander Farron pulls out his scanner, and it just dead weight in his hand. And there's no readings from it. There's no lights showing that it's scanning. Says we got a problem.
You don't say.
As soon as he finishes saying that, sorry to cut you off, you start hearing a think, 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 think. Something's hitting the outside of the ship. You look at the kind of window. It's probably not called the window on a spaceship, but basically the main viewing area of what's in front of you, and you see what looks like almost arrows hitting the window. And as it hits the window, you instantly start seeing cracks start spidering out.
Ooh, Oren's gonna start seeing that it's a fairly kind of like it's getting crowded with people trying to stay out of the sinking part of the ship. He's gonna call out as well. Hey, wait for the glass, people! Like, move back here, and trying to get people away from it. And like, well, that's one way, and we got visitors. It looks like, and he'll take the useless gunamajigger and just chuck it just to see if it'll help bust open the window. And sure enough, nice impact and more ripples of cracked glass start streaking across as the gunman thuds to the floor.
Okay. The commander thinks for a moment, and he reaches into his uniform, pulls out a knife. Says, well, this is better than nothing.
Well,
And before we go any further, I want to do something a little bit different that they did do in the roll up and die, and ask each character what they are thinking and feeling.
Oh,
So,
awesome. Yeah, Oren's
even
just
though-
like...
Even though Grubba hasn't been actually introduced into the scene other than maybe making the thunking sound, what is he thinking and feeling, seeing this strange craft crashing into his leg?
Okay, so obviously there's a language barrier, right? But we can still understand his thoughts then, so I can tell you his thoughts.
Yeah, as players, we would kind of know.
He is thinking...
But the characters don't
An
know.
ambush, an invasion. An invasion has come.
Okay.
Anger. Defensiveness.
Okay. So how is Lieutenant Irwin feeling,
well, he
and
is...
what are their thoughts?
He's certainly stressed out and whatnot. Like, they just crashed, and he's looking at himself just like, how did I not die? But, oh great, we're in a lake, so, well, we can get out of here. Okay, nothing's working, so even more stressed out, getting really angry, and then to hear this plink, plink, plink of things on the outside, it's like, oh shoot, we got company. So, pick your poison. How do you want to die? Do you want to drown or meet the natives?
Commander Farron's pretty concerned. First off, he's responsible for every life on the ship, and the situation is so bad that people are gonna die. Uh, not everyone's gonna make it out.
Mm-hmm.
Out. And then the scanners aren't working, so they can only respond to what they see. A Lieutenant Irvin's gun didn't work, so there's really not much means of protecting ourselves. And now we have something basically attacking his ship. Even though he doesn't really realize it's a hostile attack at this point. But kind of that threat is still there.
Something's out there.
Exactly. There's something out there that's causing more damage to the ship than the crash.
Mm-hmm.
And more damage means more death sooner.
So yeah, are you ready to jump back into the actual scene?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take it up, and at this point, the ship is sinking. The water has started to make its way up in the ship, and as people are like kind of trying to stay above water, they realize that, like you said, this water is very thick, and as it gets to like waist level, it becomes incredibly hard for them to move. So people start moving to the top of the ship, and as you come out, and they're like literally just climbing out onto the broken windows and what part the emergency exits on the coastline. A good 50 feet away are these men, the only way you can describe them, but they're green, their flesh almost like a lizard. They have webbed fingers and these bright luminescent eyes that literally look like insect eyes. These like little spiked kind of maney gills that like kind of stick out like a lizard, like in trying to intimidate. And they have these bows made of what looks like vines, and you see kind of shamanistic looking lizard men, we'll call them for now, and they're kind of doing like hand movements, and you see this water kind of pull up from the ground and then shapeshift into an arrow in a solid form and then load itself into these guys' bows as they're actually like taking this thick water and kind of melding it into arrows and picking off the people trying to escape from the ship.
Nice.
Oh,
That
bugger.
is totally awesome. Commander Fairbairn would look, what strange witchcraft is this?
I don't know, but they certainly have the edge over us, Commander.
Suggestions, Lieutenant. We need to get our people to safety. And one knife is not gonna suffice against these if we have to defend ourselves.
As he's saying this, like, Lieutenant Warren is just taking off this conveniently white shirt of his, just taking it off and whatnot, and he is basically like wading his way now over to the glass, like, and he's going, well, if there's, if we're lucky, maybe they'll be able to understand peaceful gestures, and when he's able to, he's going to get a hand out and just start waving this white shirt, and like bring, if there's no arrows coming, like just slowly try to bring himself up, try to get himself up on top of the ship and whatnot, and just still kind of wave this flag and just kind of hands up, trying to be very, very like, whoa, like, please stop killing us, please.
And as you do that, a couple of your like privates or whatnot, we'll call them, start doing the same thing. You guys are sitting ducks. You see some members trying to like jump off and basically swim to shore, like a D-Day almost, just trying to get off the ship and be sitting ducks. And as they jump into the water, they literally just like stick to it, like just thick kind of goo. They start sinking into it. They can't swim as hard as they try. One of your privates take off his shirt also, and he's waving it in the air, yelling out, "We surrender! We surrender! We have no weapons!" One of these water-formed arrows comes plunking right through his head and takes him out. These alien life forms have no intent of your surrender at this point, and the ship at this point is like very little left above this thick water.
Yeah, Horn at this point is just like, I'm gonna die either way, so I guess we'll just kind of, he's gonna like try to very carefully, almost like backflop onto this water stuff, just like treating it like quicksand in essence. Just see if he can float on top of it and just try and swim away. And he'll be like, if you know how to swim, either this is your option. You can swim towards them and die. You can sink where you are and die, or you can try and follow me, and we're gonna go this way. Sorry, Commander, I don't mean to take your position. I'm just, of course, if you have a better idea, I am willing to listen to it.
As you start to fall backwards, the commander catches you and holds you upright and points up, and you can see that some of these tree branches are in arm's reach.
Oh, would you look at that?
And he starts to use his knife to try to climb up, grab onto one of the branches and lifts the lieutenant up. Says, I think we can make it to shore through the trees.
Yeah. Yes, indeed, and he'll scoot over and whatnot, like lend a hand, and like he's gonna try and see who else that he can try and get up, and if there's multiple persons, he'll like go over to others to try and help lower them enough with his way to, and like see how many he can help get up into the trees. And sure enough, as a few more people are starting to able to get out of the water onto these trees and carefully maneuver their way over to the shore via the branches and such. He'll warn people. It's like they already don't seem to understand white flag, but I think we're gonna have to basically move away from here as careful as we can and see if there's any kind of safe haven that we can to try and regroup basically and figure out what to do. And so yeah, he's going to be attempting to move away from these violent creatures. And
so the commander would kind of warn everyone, be careful in the trees, and you can see his hands are covered with some kind of reddish black sap, and it seems to be extremely sticky, almost like pouring honey.
look at
And now I actually have a question. Have we answered the question of
I would say no yet.
what's attacking?
I would say not just yet.
No, not yet
Yeah,
at all.
I'm kind of two ways on it. We know what's attacking us. We don't know why or who they are.
Mm-hmm.
So
I still
think
want to
we can
introduce.
do a little bit more.
I still want to introduce Gabra to you.
Yeah, I'm thinking that like so the group is able to move off and such, or at least to a distance. Like they go far enough that they actually kind of find some kind of like little alcove or like not exactly a cave, but basically just a little like
Web
scooping
and-
out of the side, in which like they kind of are able to take some refuge under, and like as they're kind of like catching their breath, trying to like holy crackers, double checking like yeah, none of this stuff's working. Like great. When it does get to like where it looks like it could be night, like this odd sunset has now turned into like this luminescent like blue, like a very dark blue, and there's the stars out there, and now there's also like a few moons just kind of floating through, and but the moons have like this pale kind of there's like a pale brown, a pale like sea foam color, and the Ornal then kind of seeing that's like okay, it has to have been at least a few hours, and he'll look to the commander just like perhaps we should maybe see him go find those people, just just to investigate, to see if we can determine anything about them. Because yeah, for all we know, they're going to find us, and we're just sitting ducks here. But maybe we can learn more about our surroundings and what might lurk in these woods, and just take a few of us. That way, if anything happens to us, it won't reflect
The
bad on them.
the commander looks at you, says, "We'll leave Sarah in charge here. I think you and me should go. There's
Indeed.
no sense risking more than we need to."
Yep. If we
Uh,
don't return, then they'll know they'll have to figure out something else.
he, but we should not go with armed like this. And he'll cut off a branch and kind of sharpen point, hand it to Lieutenant Irvin. Says, "Well,
I am the low
it
access
makes
with the
sense,
trees. Okay.
And
Oh,
as
yeah,
you
yeah,
guys set back, you go to the crash site, looking for like maybe just kind of stealthing around. You come to this grisly scene, as you just say, hundreds of your crew members just slain in these thick waters, just still kind of sitting there. And you see these lizard people, they're still at work, and they have like their shaman people that are encasing these stranded people in this thick watery goo and putting them in like a bubble form and just rising this bubble through the air with like what seems like their mind or hands, and then they're motioning it to the shore and like kind of landing them on the shore, and you see them just being like encased in these thick watery goo. Just as you're just like trying to think of what the hell you do, Commander Fair, and you feel this ice cold sharp thing on the back of your neck.
Commander Fairbairn would just kind of under freeze and very slowly, almost not even moving, but he would try to start turning his head to the side to try to see what's behind him.
And all you hear is rub 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 grub 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 rub rub, and then as soon as you try to turn, you're kicked to the ground. You kind of roll over and you see that you've been set upon by about 5 of these green men, and they look like they're getting ready to murder you. One waves his hand and like a vine from a tree wraps around it and kind of plucks off and forms like a dagger kind of spiraling around his hand, and then the point of it being like a hardened vine. He holds it to your neck and looks like he's about to maybe finish you off when suddenly a much bigger version of this green alien life form that has come upon you. You hear him call out something in this unaudible voice, grab, grab, grab. And suddenly they kind of dismount. They lower their weapons, and he approaches you, and you see him just decked out in all this hides. It looks like kind of some kind of animal hide, but nothing like you've ever seen before. And he looks at you, and he starts speaking this exact same language that you clearly don't understand, but it seems like he's trying to communicate something to you. Raska, grab, grab, grab.
Commander Fairbairn would just kind of look at him with almost a confused look, kind of give a small nod of the head. Obviously, this is someone in charge. Commander Irvin's used to a chain of authority. He would say, sorry, we don't understand your speech."
Raska, Raska,
And he would just point at them, point at the ship, point at the sky.
As you point all of his kind of men ready their weapons at your throat again, he holds up his arms and makes them back up. Then he looks at you and with 2 fingers puts his hands, or his 2 fingers on your temple. And then suddenly you hear a voice. My name is Gabra. Why have you invaded my people? As he's somehow telepathically communicating with you now.
He would look at him and he would say, "You can understand us now?"
And then I would say end it right there.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I like that. I
So,
like that touch. That's good timing too, because I'm like looking at the time going, I only have 12
yeah.
minutes left.
So
Oh
we
my goodness.
we do have other periods and stuff, uh, but I think we got the basic idea of how to do it
Yeah.
portrayed. So let's stop there, and we will talk a little bit how we think it went, what we liked about it, kind of those kind of things. So, Mary, hey, how about you start us off?
So what I liked, I loved collaborating. I'm all for um trying to come up with a story. I have lots of ideas, and sometimes I just need help honing them. Um, it was definitely more nerve-wracking with it being like streamed and whatnot. You guys probably noticed a lot more of just my speech and whatnot.
Yeah,
Like I think this is the first time you've ever seen any of my anxieties. Like, this was like
and
almost unbearable, but yet at the same time, I'm like, I did it. Like this was a push, like a great introduction to DMing because it's not, it's like whatever, just kind of go with it. And even though my head is like,
exactly.
you didn't prepare anything. Why are you improving this? This is not good. And so it's just like. I'm dying,
And
but it was
see,
really, really
nothing's
good
wrong
because of it.
because we had fun.
Yeah, it was fun. So,
And it's
even if I did a
setting.
horrible job, thank you guys for being patient with me. And
Oh,
yeah,
no
thank you.
problem. And that's to be expected. Mostly, I think most of it came from not being familiar with the system and how it worked,
Mhm.
uh, because this
I-
is like first time you've ever even heard of it.
Yeah, yeah, indeed. Like I remember, I saw that Chris was like going to join tonight. I was like, "Cool! I'm so glad because I have no idea what I'm doing tonight." He's like, "Oh, we're doing this." It's like, "Oh, you know about that?" Yes. Little blip. It's like, okay, that sounds doable. Oh yeah,
Okay,
improv. Your strong point, Mary. Anyways,
so
it was good. I really enjoyed it.
yeah, it was fun, and it's a setting I wouldn't mind visiting again, even in a run shot within a certain system, or
Mhm.
even running more of this.
Yeah,
Yes,
definitely.
yes. So let's go to Chris. Yes. How do you think it went? What did you like?
I absolutely loved it. I will definitely be hijacking parts of this system for any kind of world building campaign. I love the collaborative of it, and just as we're doing this, I can just in my head see it spinning that my players not only create their characters, but the world or the city that they're from, and it's literally just an exercise in itself. It's great for like Mary said, as a beginning DM or even as like a veteran DM, just to practice restraint and improvisation. Like you literally
Yeah,
have no clue what anybody else is going to do, and you can plan as much as you want, but someone can just say one thing and derail it. And I think that's all about what being a DM is going with what people come up with and making a story out of that. And I just
e-
love that this system.
exactly. It's really good practice, and I like the restraint angle that you keep it to like one sentence.
hmm You can't
Uh,
plan because for one, you're not supposed to plan in the setting, and for two, you don't know what anybody else is going to do. So
Exactly.
yeah.
For me, I love the setting. I thought we came up with a pretty awesome fantasy setting,
hmm
eh, and seeing it brought to life, and these characters that know about technology, but it's not working, and having to like make the spear for Lieutenant Irvin, and just so we could defend ourselves.
Yeah, like I
Oh.
instantly want to know more about the setting after playing that, and that's literally something that we just came up with in a couple of minutes, and then
Exactly. Eh, And to me, it was a very real setting, whereas a lot of times players don't feel that connection with a setting that a DM's made,
hmm
and until several sessions in. And right from the back, we were all kind of invested in the setting, what's going on, why is it happening. So that was really nice.
absolutely.
And my favorite bit of it was building this story with the scenes and, and playing off of what each other put in, and that we had no dice rolls, no mechanics. It was just players saying what they were doing and what was happening.
Yeah, that was something I was noticing with myself where how I'd be describing, like, oh, Oren's going to do this, and he would be trying to get people to do this, and they would try and go find, and it's like, wait a minute, Mary, you don't have to be saying like this is their goal, because we're not rolling a dice to see if they're going to be successful or not. You make it successful.
Exactly.
Or them find a cave-like thing that they're gonna rest for the night, and guess what? The sky's blue, and so it's just like, oh yeah.
Exactly. So that's kind of what I like about it. I think it's an awesome tool for role building, and especially if you have a set group of players, as if a, a session zero type thing, I think using something like this would give a lot of flavor history to a role. So.
Yeah, my idea basically is, as a DM, I'll use this for 5e, and how I want to try is, as a DM, come up with the setting yourself. Maybe come up with what's there and what's not. Maybe allow the players to have some say. And then the first period, whatever is before, the end period is where the campaign starts. And then you bring your players in, and then you just play periods and events and whatnot before the campaign starts. And that literally right there gives you your whole history of your world.
Exactly. And then once you have that done, you can run stuff of like we could start a whole new game with the starting period is the humans have found their place in this world,
Exactly.
and then come up with another ending point.
Or just like pick an event that you liked, the attack of these alien life forms. That's a one shot right there.
Exactly.
Like it's literally, I can just see myself using this system a lot just for coming up with one shots and campaigns and world building and history.
Exactly. So I think we all did pretty good with it. I will also, hey Chris, you blew me out of the water on some of those descriptions.
Thank you.
And,
Yeah, I just
and
literally, like, things are just popping in my head, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna go with it because
exactly. And that's kind of the whole point of that system, is to be able to do that and to make it come naturally.
Yep.
So, but do either of you have anything else you would like to add before we go off the air?
I want to thank you for inviting me. It's my first time meeting you, Jared, and it was a pleasure. And I am just so thrilled that I finally got to try this system. Ever since I seen that episode of Roll Up and Die, I was like, man, I need to try this because I know I'm gonna love it. And I was not disappointed. So thanks for that.
Oh, you're more than welcome. I definitely plan on running some more sessions. It's just a matter of finding people and time and
Yep.
all that. So how about you, Mary? Anything else you would like to add?
I also thank you for the challenge. It was wonderful, despite how unpleasant I felt the whole time. it was definitely good. a good shift in things, and definitely something that I hope to do again another time. Hopefully not streamed live. Like that's, oh goodness,
Yeah,
forever
yeah,
recorded of
yeah.
Harry having
I
an
probably
anxiety
won't.
attack.
Yeah, I probably won't stream the next couple times live. I wanted to do this as part of the review for it.
And that was brilliant. So
So, um, I do. I was glad you were able to play because I know you're really into the story and role playing like I am. So I almost instantly when I saw how this worked, I was like, Mary would like this. I just gotta get her to try it.
well, maybe it was a good thing that I didn't really know a whole lot about it. I don't even think Chris mentioned that it was like, yeah, we should take turns GMing. I think if I heard that, I'd be like, wait, what? What?
Yeah.
What do you mean, I'm not prepared to GM, and let alone improvise GM.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was the point.
And it's unique, the system they got, because there is no actual GM. We're all just players. But you do have the person focusing. So now, a normal game, you might have different focus. We just kept it the same the entire time.
Yeah, I would have switched the focus later on to what became of Commander Farron or something. Like, as you start filling in NPCs, start building those NPC stories. Or I
Yeah.
guess they're not NPCs, but whatever you would call them.
Yeah. Or even one PC one character's backstory. Perhaps one of the crew was attacked when they were a kid by a giant lizard.
Yeah.
So how would they react to these lizard men? Because that's basically what they were.
And I think another thing that we kind of got sidetracked by is there's a temptation to run it in chronological order.
Yeah.
This game encourages you to actually like jump from period and events. Don't actually fill in the gaps as you go. Like, I probably on my next scene would have chose something in the very ending period, and we would have potentially figured out how this whole story ends before we know anything in the middle, which would change the middle. So
exactly. It's very encouraged to jump around. We kind of chose not to do that, partially because it was like maybe first time we only had time to do maybe 2 actual scenes.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted that sense of stabilization.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand. But I definitely see this game working well with people who enjoy role-playing, because it's essentially all it is, right? There's no hack and slash. But
exactly.
If you get some good role players, I can see like hours of enjoyment coming out of this game.
Oh yeah. We very easily could have gone 5 or 6 hours in one session and want to come back for more, because there's always more questions to answer.
Yep.
So, okay, but with that being said, I think we've covered the PDF pretty well. We've given an example of how the Microscope RPG is played. It's available on DriveThruRPG for $10. Extremely well worth the money. A very useful, like we said, in role building session 0. And until next time, I hope all the viewers enjoy watching us kind of bumble through this and may the dice always roll in your favor.